Energy storage. Course content. Introduction to energy storage. The science behind energy storage. Batteries, the backbone of modern storage. Mechanical storage systems. Thermal and chemical storage. Grid-scale energy storage. Energy storage in industry and communities. The economics of energy storage. The future of energy storage. Environmental and social impacts of energy storage. Part 1. Introduction to energy storage. The invisible engine of the energy revolution. Every time you plug in your phone, turn on a light, or start an electric car, you're tapping into a massive, complex web of energy infrastructure. Yet behind the scenes, a quiet revolution is taking place. One that isn't about how we generate energy, but how we store it. Energy storage may not grab headlines like solar panels or wind turbines, but it's just as crucial. Without efficient storage systems, much of the energy from renewable sources would go to waste. Energy storage gives us the ability to balance supply and demand, to keep power flowing even when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. In essence, storage is the glue that holds a reliable, renewable-powered future together. Why do we need energy storage? Traditionally, power grids have operated on a use-it-or-lose-it basis. Electricity is generated and consumed almost instantaneously. Fossil fuel plants could be dialed up or down depending on demand. But renewable energy sources don't work that way. The sun shines during the day, often producing more energy than needed, and disappears at night. Wind can be strong one moment and still the next. Energy storage allows us to capture that excess energy, save it, and release it later when demand spikes or generation drops. This shift from a supply-driven model to a more flexible, responsive system is one of the greatest challenges in modern energy management, and energy storage is at the heart of that transformation. Types of energy storage. Energy storage isn't just about batteries. While lithium-ion batteries dominate headlines due to their use in phones, EVs, and grid applications, many other forms exist. Broadly, storage technologies fall into several categories. Chemical storage, like batteries and hydrogen fuel cells. Mechanical storage, such as pumped hydro and flywheels. Thermal storage, storing heat or cold for later use. Electrical storage, like capacitors and superconducting magnets. Each has strengths and weaknesses, suited to different roles in the energy ecosystem, from stabilizing the grid to powering vehicles or homes. Energy storage through history. Energy storage isn't new. Humans have been storing energy for centuries in simple forms. Think of a firewood pile or a barrel of oil. Hydroelectric dams, one of the oldest forms of mechanical storage, have been in use since the late 19th century. Even rechargeable batteries date back to the 1800s. However, it's only in the last 2 decades that energy storage has taken center stage in energy planning. Technological breakthroughs, falling costs, and the global push to decarbonize have thrust storage into the spotlight. The role of energy storage in decarbonization. As nations around the world commit to carbon neutrality, energy storage becomes a cornerstone of sustainable development. It enables higher penetration of renewables, reduces the need for fossil fuel-based peaker plants, and supports energy equity by bringing reliable power to remote areas. In this course, we'll dive deep into how energy is stored, the technologies making it possible, and the incredible potential it holds for our energy future. From the nuts and bolts of battery chemistry to the vast reservoirs of pumped hydro, we'll explore how stored energy is reshaping industries, cities, and lives. A look ahead. In the following parts, we'll explore the science behind how storage works, the rise of lithium-ion batteries and their competitors, massive grid-scale storage projects around the world, cutting-edge innovations like flow batteries and solid-state storage, economic, environmental, and policy challenges. By the end of this course, you'll understand not just how energy storage works, but why it's absolutely essential for a cleaner, more resilient energy future. So buckle up, we're just getting started. Part 2: The science behind energy storage. What does it mean to store energy? At its core, storing energy means capturing it in one form and converting it into another that can be retained and retrieved later. That conversion process is the secret sauce of every energy storage system, from a basic rechargeable battery to a massive pumped hydro facility. To understand energy storage, we first need to revisit a foundational principle of physics: energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. What varies is how efficiently we can transform and store it, and how quickly and reliably we can get it back when we need it. The forms of energy. Energy comes in many forms, and understanding these helps explain why different storage technologies exist. The most relevant for storage include chemical energy, stored in the bonds of molecules. This is what batteries use. Mechanical energy, stored through motion or position, such as in flywheels or elevated water pumped hydro. Thermal energy, stored as heat or cold, used in molten salt tanks or ice storage. Electrical energy, stored directly in electric or magnetic fields, like in capacitors or superconducting magnetic systems. Key concepts in energy storage. 1. Energy density. This refers to how much energy a storage system can hold, relative to its size or weight. Think of energy density as a gas tank. How far can you go on one full charge? Lithium-ion batteries, for example, have high energy density compared to older battery types. 2. Power density. Power density measures how quickly that energy can be delivered. A system with high power density might release a lot of energy very quickly but not for long. This is important for applications like quick acceleration in electric vehicles. 3. Efficiency. Every time energy is converted or stored, some of it is lost, usually as heat. The round-trip efficiency is the percentage of energy you can get back compared to what you put in. Lithium-ion batteries are around 90% efficient. Pumped hydro systems can be up to 80%. 4. Cycle life. How many times can a storage system be charged and discharged before it degrades? This affects cost and sustainability. Some batteries last a few hundred cycles, while others can last thousands. The storage process: charge and discharge. Most energy storage systems have two basic modes. Charging, energy is captured and stored. Discharging, stored energy is converted back into usable electricity. Let's take lithium-ion batteries as an example. When charging, lithium ions move from the positive cathode to the negative anode, storing energy in the chemical bonds. When discharging, they reverse direction, and that movement generates an electric current. In mechanical systems, it's more physical. A pump moves water uphill during low demand, storing energy as potential energy. When needed, gravity brings the water down through turbines to generate electricity. Heat, resistance and degradation. No energy storage system is perfect. Heat buildup, material fatigue, and chemical wear all reduce performance over time. For instance, batteries degrade due to electrolyte breakdown and dendrite formation. Flywheels lose energy due to friction and air resistance. Thermal systems lose heat through insulation limits. Scientists and engineers are constantly innovating to reduce these losses and improve durability. Control systems and smart storage. Modern storage systems are equipped with sophisticated software and sensors that monitor everything from temperature to state of charge. These systems optimize performance, prevent failures, and allow storage systems to interact with smart grids. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are increasingly being used to predict usage patterns, weather changes, and grid demand to charge-discharge at the most optimal times. Energy storage as a system. It's helpful to think of energy storage as more than just a physical device. It's a system, a combination of storage medium, e.g., battery cell, water reservoir; conversion technology, e.g., inverter, turbine, compressor; control and communication, e.g., software, sensors, grid interfaces; safety mechanisms, e.g., thermal management, fire suppression. All of these elements must work together seamlessly for energy storage to be effective, safe, and scalable. Understanding the science behind energy storage helps us appreciate both the complexity and potential of these systems. It also highlights why there's no one-size-fits-all solution. What works for a smartphone isn't practical for stabilizing a city's power grid, and vice versa. In the next part, we'll zoom in on the most talked about storage tech today, batteries. We'll trace their history, chemistry, and the explosive rise of lithium-ion technology. Part 3: Batteries, the backbone of modern storage. A brief history of batteries. Before we dig into how batteries work today, let's take a quick trip back in time. The first battery was created in 1800 by Alessandro Volta, using layers of zinc and copper separated by cardboard soaked in salt water. It was a crude device, but it marked the beginning of electrical storage. Over the next 2 centuries, battery technology evolved slowly. We got lead-acid batteries in the 1850s, still used today in car engines, nickel-cadmium and nickel metal hydride in the 20th century, and then finally the lithium-ion battery in the 1990s, a breakthrough that would change everything from consumer electronics to electric cars. What is a battery, really? At its core, a battery is a device that stores chemical energy and converts it into electrical energy through electrochemical reactions. It has 3 key parts: anode, negative side during discharge; cathode, positive side during discharge; electrolyte, the medium through which ions flow. When you discharge a battery, electrons flow from the anode to the cathode through an external circuit powering your device. Meanwhile, ions travel through the electrolyte to balance the charge. When you charge the battery, everything happens in reverse. Lithium-ion, the reigning champion. Lithium-ion (Li-ion) batteries dominate the market today. They're used in smartphones, laptops, electric vehicles, and increasingly in grid-scale storage systems. Why are they so popular? High energy density, lots of energy in a small package. Lightweight, lithium is one of the lightest metals. Rechargeable, can handle hundreds to thousands of cycles. Low maintenance, no need for full discharges or special conditioning. Li-ion batteries come in many flavors, depending on the cathode material. NMC, nickel manganese cobalt, a common blend in EVs for its energy and power balance. LFP, lithium iron phosphate, safer with longer lifespan, often used in grid storage. NCA, nickel cobalt aluminum, found in Tesla batteries for high-energy applications. Each type balances trade-offs in cost, performance, safety, and lifespan. The anatomy of a Li-ion battery. Let's look under the hood of a typical lithium-ion battery. Cathode, usually made from a lithium metal oxide. Anode, typically graphite. Electrolyte, a lithium salt in a solvent. Separator, a porous membrane that keeps anode and cathode apart but allows ion flow. When discharging, lithium ions move from the anode to the cathode through the electrolyte, while electrons flow through the external circuit. When charging, the ions and electrons flow the opposite way. Beyond lithium-ion, other battery technologies. While Li-ion batteries dominate, they're not perfect. They can overheat, catch fire in rare cases, and use critical minerals like cobalt, which raise ethical and environmental concerns. That's why researchers are exploring alternatives. 1. Solid-state batteries. Replace the liquid electrolyte with a solid one. They promise higher energy density and improved safety, but manufacturing is still expensive and technically challenging. 2. Flow batteries use liquid electrolytes stored in external tanks. They're bulky but perfect for grid-scale energy storage because they're easy to scale and have long cycle lives. 3. Sodium-ion batteries. Similar to lithium-ion but use sodium, a more abundant and cheaper element. These are less energy-dense, but offer a more sustainable option. 4. Zinc-air and metal-air batteries. These use oxygen from the air as one of the reactants, allowing them to be extremely lightweight. Still mostly experimental but promising. Batteries in everyday life. You likely use multiple batteries daily, in your phone, your remote, your laptop, your car. But batteries are also increasingly being used to stabilize the electrical grid by absorbing excess power and supplying it when needed. Support solar and wind systems, storing energy for cloudy or calm periods. Enable electric mobility, from scooters to trucks to buses. Some large-scale battery installations, like Tesla's Megapack systems or the Hornsdale Power Reserve in Australia, store hundreds of megawatt-hours of electricity, enough to power tens of thousands of homes. The environmental cost of batteries. Despite their benefits, batteries have environmental impacts. Mining lithium, cobalt, and nickel can damage ecosystems and involve unethical labor practices. Battery recycling is still limited and often inefficient. Battery manufacturing has a large carbon footprint, though this is improving. The good news? New techniques for battery recycling, alternative chemistries, and more ethical sourcing are advancing rapidly. Batteries are more than just gadgets, they're the powerhouses of the energy transition. As we electrify more of our world, from cars to homes to entire cities, battery technology will only grow in importance. In the next part, we'll explore other powerful forms of energy storage, mechanical systems like pumped hydro and flywheels, that don't involve chemistry at all. Part 4: Mechanical storage systems. When physics does the heavy lifting. Not all energy storage systems rely on chemistry. Some use basic physics, gravity, motion, pressure, to capture energy in mechanical forms. These systems are often more durable, easier to maintain, and ideal for large-scale, long-duration storage. In this part, we'll explore how lifting water, spinning wheels, and compressing air can power homes, cities, and entire regions. 1. Pumped hydro storage, the giant battery. Pumped hydro is the oldest and most widely used form of grid-scale energy storage. It accounts for more than 90% of all energy storage capacity worldwide. How it works. It's simple in concept. When electricity is abundant, e.g., during the day when solar panels are active, water is pumped uphill to a higher reservoir. When electricity is needed, the water is released downhill, spinning turbines and generating power, just like a traditional hydroelectric dam. This process converts electrical energy, right-pointing arrow, gravitational potential energy, right-pointing arrow, back to electrical energy. Why it works. High efficiency, 70 to 85%. Long lifespan, can last 50 to 100 years. Massive capacity, can store gigawatt-hours of energy. Limitations. Requires very specific geography, 2 reservoirs at different elevations. High upfront cost and long construction time. Environmental impact from water diversion and land use. Still, where the landscape allows, pumped hydro is the gold standard for storing large amounts of renewable energy. 2. Flywheels, energy in motion. Flywheels store energy as rotational kinetic energy, essentially by spinning a heavy disk at very high speeds. How it works. Electricity powers a motor that spins a rotor inside a vacuum chamber. When energy is needed, the spinning rotor slows down, and that mechanical energy is converted back into electricity. Modern flywheels can spin up to 60,000 revolutions per minute, (RPM), and some are suspended with magnetic bearings to reduce friction. Advantages. Very fast response time, milliseconds. High power output over short periods. Long cycle life, can charge and discharge hundreds of thousands of times. Drawbacks. Not ideal for long duration storage, they gradually lose energy due to friction. Higher cost per kilowatt-hour compared to batteries. Better suited for short bursts, like balancing frequency on the grid or in regenerative braking systems. 3. Compressed air energy storage (CAES). CAES systems store energy by compressing air into underground caverns or tanks, then releasing it to drive turbines. How it works. During off-peak hours, excess electricity powers compresses that squeeze air into a sealed space. Later, the high-pressure air is released, expanded through a turbine and converted into electricity. Some systems heat the air before expansion to increase efficiency, called adiabatic CAES. Benefits. Large capacity, scalable to hundreds of megawatts. Suitable for long-duration storage. Can use existing geological features like salt caverns. Challenges. Lower efficiency than batteries or pumped hydro, typically 40 to 60%. Heat generated during compression can be wasted without thermal management. Limited to locations with suitable geology. Newer technologies like liquid air energy storage, LAES, which liquefy air instead of compressing it, are gaining attention for similar reasons. 4. Gravity-based systems, modern takes on pumped hydro. What if you could store energy by lifting weights, not water? That's the idea behind several next-gen mechanical storage systems. Examples. Energy Vault uses cranes to lift large concrete blocks and lower them to generate electricity. Gravitricity drops heavy weights down mine shafts to spin generators. Advantages. Less water-dependent than pumped hydro. Can be built in urban or industrial areas. Long lifespan and low degradation. Though still in the early stages, these systems offer an intriguing blend of old-school physics and modern engineering. Real-world applications. Mechanical storage is especially useful for grid balancing, frequency regulation, and storing excess renewable energy. Some real-life examples. Bath County Pumped Storage Station, Virginia, USA, the world's largest pumped hydro plant with a capacity of 3,003 megawatts. Beacon Power, Massachusetts, USA, operates flywheel systems for frequency regulation in the New England grid. Huntorf CAES plant, Germany, in operation since 1978, one of the earliest large-scale CAES systems. Comparing mechanical systems. Mechanical storage systems show that sometimes the oldest ideas are the most resilient. By harnessing simple physical principles like gravity and motion, these technologies provide reliable, scalable energy storage options, especially at the grid level. Next up, we'll explore how thermal and chemical storage systems add even more flexibility to our energy toolkit, capturing heat, storing cold, and even using hydrogen to bottle power. Part 5: Thermal and chemical storage. More than just batteries and gravity. So far, we've looked at storing energy through electrochemistry, batteries, and physics, mechanical systems. But energy can also be stored in thermal and chemical forms, methods that often get less attention but play a critical role in the clean energy transition. From molten salt tanks storing heat for solar power plants to green hydrogen acting as a chemical fuel, these methods unlock long-duration storage, process heat, and even seasonal energy shifting. Thermal energy storage (TES). Thermal energy storage systems store energy as heat or cold to be used later. Instead of converting energy back to electricity, they often provide direct heating or cooling, ideal for buildings, industry, and district energy systems. 1. Sensible heat storage. This is the most straightforward method, storing heat in a material by raising its temperature. Common materials: water, molten salts, rocks or concrete, How it works. Heat is added to a material during the charge phase. The material retains the heat with insulation. Later, the heat is extracted and used or converted into electricity, e.g., via steam turbines. Applications. Concentrated solar power (CSP) plants. Molten salt tanks store heat from the sun during the day and release it at night. District heating systems in Europe. Store hot water during low demand, distribute it later. 2. Latent heat storage. Instead of raising temperature, this method uses phase change materials (PCMs) like waxes or ice. These materials absorb or release heat when they change phase, solid to liquid or vice versa. Benefits. High energy density. Narrow temperature range, perfect for climate control in buildings. Example. Ice storage systems freeze water at night when electricity is cheaper, and use the melting process to cool buildings during the day. 3. Thermochemical storage. This advanced method involves storing energy in the chemical bonds of molecules. When the bonds are broken, often with water or heat, energy is released. Example. Reversible chemical reactions like dehydration, hydration of salts. Pros. Extremely high energy density. Potential for seasonal energy storage. This technology is still developing, but has potential in space heating, industrial heat, and even storing summer solar energy for winter use. Chemical energy storage. Now let's talk about storing energy in chemical form, not just in batteries but in fuels that can be synthesized, stored, and used like traditional gas or oil. The most promising example? Hydrogen. 1. Hydrogen, energy in a molecule. Hydrogen can be produced through a process called electrolysis, where electricity splits water into hydrogen and oxygen. If the electricity is from renewables, the resulting hydrogen is called green hydrogen. Hydrogen can be stored as a gas, liquid, or chemically bonded in metal hydrides. Why it's exciting? Hydrogen can be burned like natural gas or used in fuel cells to produce electricity. It's zero emission at point of use. It enables long duration and seasonal storage. It can be used for hard to decarbonize sectors like aviation, shipping, and steel production. Challenges. Low efficiency, 40 to 50% round trip with current tech. Difficult to store and transport, low density, flammable. Infrastructure is limited but rapidly growing. 2. Synthetic fuels and ammonia. Using captured CO and renewable energy, scientists can create synthetic hydrocarbons or green ammonia, fuels that are carbon neutral and easier to handle than hydrogen. These can be stored and transported using existing fuel infrastructure. Used in combustion engines or fuel cells. Key for global shipping and energy export. Comparing thermal and chemical storage. Real-world examples. Crescent Dune Solar Project, Nevada, use molten salt thermal storage to deliver power after sunset. Ice Bear Systems, California, store ice at night to cool buildings during peak hours. Hydrogen valleys in Europe, regions testing full hydrogen ecosystems from production to storage to end use. Japan and Australia, shipping hydrogen and ammonia internationally as part of the clean fuel trade. The big picture. Thermal and chemical storage extend the boundaries of what energy storage can do. Batteries are great for short-term and high-efficiency needs, but they struggle with long duration and seasonal demands. By storing heat, cold, or chemical energy, we can support industrial processes, heating networks, and global transport systems, key sectors in the climate fight. As we've now seen, energy storage comes in many forms, each with its own strengths. Thermal and chemical storage may not be as flashy as batteries or as massive as pumped hydro, but they quietly power homes, cool cities, and drive innovation behind the scenes. In the next part, we'll explore how all these systems work together on a grand scale, stabilizing national power grids and making 100% renewable energy a real possibility. Part 6: Grid-scale energy storage. The backbone of a resilient power system. Imagine a world where solar panels cover rooftops, wind turbines spin across plains, and fossil fuels are a thing of the past. Sounds great, right? But there's a catch. The sun doesn't always shine, and the wind doesn't always blow. That's where grid-scale energy storage comes in, acting as a buffer, a backup, and a bridge between energy supply and demand. This part explores how energy storage supports the entire electrical grid, from keeping lights on during peak demand to enabling a 100% renewable energy future. Why the grid needs storage? Our electrical grid has traditionally worked on a real-time balance. Power plants generate exactly as much electricity as people use. But with renewables, supply can be unpredictable. Here's how energy storage helps. Stores excess energy when production exceeds demand, like at noon on a sunny day. Delivers power when production drops or demand spikes, like at dinner time. Maintains grid stability by regulating frequency and voltage. Provides backup power in case of outages or emergencies. Reduces reliance on peaker plants, which are expensive and polluting. Types of grid-scale storage systems. Let's break down the major storage technologies used at grid scale, some we've covered, but now with a grid-wide perspective. 1. Pumped hydro storage. Largest capacity system by far. Used for peak shaving and load balancing. Can store energy for hours to days. Example, Bath County, USA, capable of powering 750,000 homes for several hours. 2. Utility-scale batteries. Lithium-ion batteries dominate, with LFP gaining popularity for safety and cost. Used for frequency regulation, demand response, and renewable integration. Fast response times milliseconds. Example, Tesla Megapack, Hornsdale Power Reserve, Australia. 3. Flow batteries. Ideal for long-duration storage, 4 to 12 hours or more. Scalable by increasing tank size. Used for solar smoothing, microgrids, and remote applications. 4. Compressed air and hydrogen. Used for seasonal storage or multi-day backup. Often paired with renewable generation, e.g., wind to hydrogen. Hydrogen may soon be fed into natural gas pipelines or used in fuel cells. Key grid applications of storage. Frequency regulation. Keeps the grid operating at 50 or 60 Hz. Batteries and flywheels respond instantly to keep balance. Load shifting. Stores energy during low demand, off-peak, and delivers during high demand, on-peak. Makes solar and wind more useful even after sunset. Black start capability. Restarts the grid after a total blackout, without external power. Storage can provide initial power to get plants running again. Grid deferral. Delays the need for new transmission lines or substations. Example, instead of upgrading infrastructure, a utility installs a battery system to handle demand surges. Energy arbitrage. Store energy when prices are low and sell when prices are high. Creates revenue for storage operators and balances market supply. Case study, Hornsdale Power Reserve. Located in South Australia. 150 megawatts, 194 megawatt-hours lithium-ion battery, expanded from 100 megawatts. Installed by Tesla in just 100 days. Has saved millions in grid stabilization costs. Proves storage can respond faster and more affordably than traditional plants. Planning for grid storage, how much do we need? Energy planners use terms like short-duration storage, seconds to 4 hours, manages short-term imbalances. Mid-duration storage, 4 to 12 hours, covers evening peak demand. Long-duration storage, 12+ hours, needed for cloudy weeks or seasonal gaps. A 100% renewable grid likely needs a mix of durations, technologies, and geographic spread to be reliable and resilient. The role of policy and markets. Energy storage doesn't just depend on technology, it needs supportive regulation and market design. Incentives, tax credits, grants and subsidies reduce costs, e.g. U.S. Inflation Reduction Act. Capacity markets pay storage to be available when needed, even if not used. Ancillary services pay for grid stability services like voltage and frequency support. Time of use pricing encourages storing when power is cheap and using when it's expensive. Countries like Germany, Australia, South Korea and the US are leading the way in integrating storage into their grid plans. The future of grid-scale storage. Storage is scaling fast, but challenges remain. Cost is falling, but still a barrier for long-duration systems. Recycling and supply chains need improvement. Permitting and interconnection can delay projects. Still, the momentum is undeniable. By 2030, grid storage could grow tenfold, enabling grids to operate with high renewable penetration, survive climate-driven blackouts, empower decentralized, community-led energy systems. Grid-scale energy storage is the glue that holds the clean energy system together. It ensures reliability, enhances flexibility, and allows us to dream big, of cities powered entirely by the wind, of homes running on yesterday's sunshine, and of a resilient zero-carbon future. In the next part, we'll shift from tech to people, looking at how energy storage is transforming industries, empowering communities, and shaping the future of work. Part 7: Energy storage in industry and communities. Power to the people and the machines. Energy storage is more than a solution for power plants and national grids. It's also becoming a powerful tool for factories, neighborhoods, farms, schools, and small businesses. In this part, we'll look at how energy storage is reshaping how we live, work, and produce. From remote villages in Africa gaining access to reliable electricity, to major manufacturing plants shaving energy costs with smart batteries, energy storage is becoming personal. Energy storage in industry. Industrial facilities are among the largest consumers of electricity. They're also highly sensitive to power quality, downtime, and demand charges, making energy storage a strategic investment. 1. Peak shaving and demand charge reduction. Electricity bills for large industrial users often include demand charges, fees based on the highest amount of power used during any 15-minute interval. With on-site storage, businesses can store energy when it's cheap, discharge during peak usage to avoid spikes, save thousands or even millions annually. Example: a cold storage facility uses batteries to flatten its energy curve during heavy refrigeration use in hot months. 2. Backup power and reliability. Unexpected outages can cost industries millions in lost productivity, damaged equipment, or spoiled goods. Batteries and other storage systems provide instant switchover during grid failure, cleaner alternative to diesel generators, better protection for sensitive processes. Example: a semiconductor manufacturer installs a battery bank to prevent even split-second voltage drops that could ruin products. 3. Power quality and grid independence. Factories often face voltage sag, surges, or frequency deviations. These can harm sensitive electronics or slow production. Storage provides smoother, cleaner power delivery, local control over energy usage, opportunities for microgrid development and islanded operation. 4. Industrial decarbonization. Many heavy industries like cement, steel, and chemicals need high-temperature heat that can't be delivered directly by wind or solar. Solutions include thermal storage, molten salt sand batteries, hydrogen as a clean industrial fuel, electrification paired with storage to reduce fossil fuel use. Example: A steel plant uses hydrogen generated by solar-powered electrolysis to replace coal in its blast furnaces. Energy storage in communities. Beyond factories, energy storage is finding a place in everyday life, from neighborhoods and schools to farms and apartment buildings. 1. Resilience and disaster recovery. When natural disasters strike, wildfires, hurricanes, ice storms, grid infrastructure often goes down. Energy storage provides critical backup for medical clinics, schools, and emergency centers. Power for refrigeration, lighting, communication. Faster recovery for remote or underserved areas. Example: a Puerto Rican school runs on solar plus storage, staying open and functional even when the regional grid fails. 2. Energy independence and cost savings. Homeowners and building managers are turning to battery storage to pair with rooftop solar for self-sufficiency. Avoid high evening energy prices. Sell excess energy back to the grid in some areas. Popular systems like the Tesla Powerwall, LG Chem, and Enphase batteries are enabling millions to become their own mini-utilities. 3. Community microgrids. A microgrid is a small-scale grid that can operate independently or with the main grid. They're ideal for rural villages, remote islands, neighborhoods with vulnerable populations. Paired with solar or wind, microgrids with storage offer reliable, clean energy, local job creation, reduced dependence on diesel or costly grid extensions. Example: a village in Kenya uses a solar battery microgrid to power homes, irrigation pumps, and cell phone towers, affordably and reliably. 4. Energy justice and equity. Access to clean, reliable energy is a matter of equity. Energy storage can help bridge the gap for low-income communities, rural regions, communities of color historically burdened by pollution. By supporting community-owned storage projects, public funding for resilient infrastructure, policies that encourage inclusive access, storage becomes a tool for climate justice as well as clean energy. Other community in small business applications. Farms use batteries for irrigation, cold storage, and remote machinery. Schools store solar power to lower energy costs and ensure backup. Health clinics maintain life-saving equipment during outages. Retail and restaurants avoid spoilage and stay open during power failures. Real-world impact, numbers that matter. A Target store in California saved $75,000 per year using a behind-the-meter battery system. In India, over 20,000 solar microgrids with battery storage now serve 100+ million people. In California, battery rebates through SGIP, Self-Generation Incentive Program, are helping vulnerable households get backup power. Whether it's a multinational corporation trimming its energy bill, or a small island becoming energy independent, energy storage is empowering individuals, industries, and entire communities. It's helping people gain control over their energy, prepare for climate-related disruptions, reduce emissions while saving money. In the next part, we'll step back and explore the economics of energy storage, what it costs, what it saves, and how it compares to traditional energy systems. Part 8: The economics of energy storage. It's not just about power, it's about value. Energy storage is a technology, yes. But it's also a business. And like any business, it lives or dies by its economics. So, how much does it cost to install a battery system? When does it pay for itself? And how does it stack up against traditional fossil fuel options? In this part, we'll explore upfront costs and operating expenses, value streams and revenue opportunities, financial comparisons to gas peaker plants, the role of subsidies, incentives, and falling prices, Let's get into the numbers that make energy storage work. Capital and operating costs. 1. Upfront capital costs. Costs vary depending on the technology, scale, and location. Note: per kWh refers to the system's energy capacity, not power kW. Some installations also factor in cost per kilowatt, reflecting power delivery rate. 2. Operating and maintenance (O&M) costs. Lithium-ion systems, -$10 to $20 per kilowatt-hour per year. Pumped hydro, low but site-specific. Flow batteries, minimal, but require regular fluid replacement. Hydrogen, high due to compression, storage, and reconversion inefficiencies. What makes storage economically viable? It's not just about storing energy, it's about capturing value across multiple use cases. 1. Time shifting, arbitrage. Buy or store energy when prices are low, e.g. solar peak noon. Sell or discharge when prices spike, e.g. evening demand. Profitable in markets with price volatility. 2. Avoided demand charges. Especially important for commercial and industrial uses. Batteries reduce peak loads and shave the highest cost 15-minute intervals. ROI often seen in under 5 years. 3. Grid services revenue. Frequency regulation. Spinning reserve. Voltage control. Black start support. These services are market compensated in many regions. 4. Capacity payments. Storage is paid to be available during peak periods, even if not used. Creates a steady revenue stream. 5. Deferral of infrastructure upgrades. Utilities avoid or delay costly grid expansions by installing local storage. This makes storage a cheaper alternative to new wires, poles, or substations. Storage versus gas peaker plants. Historically, natural gas peaker plants handled demand spikes. But today, batteries are increasingly faster, cleaner, and cheaper. Example: California replaced a 262 MW gas peaker with a 400 MWh battery, faster and more cost-effective long-term. Declining costs over time. Energy storage, especially lithium-ion batteries, is following the same cost curve solar did in the 2010s. Since 2010, lithium-ion battery prices have dropped over 85%. By 2030, grid-scale battery prices could fall below $100 per kilowatt-hour. Cost declines driven by manufacturing scale, EV industry boost, chemistry improvements like LFP and solid state, supply chain optimization and recycling, incentives and policy support. Government support is speeding up adoption. U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, 30 to 70% tax credits for standalone storage projects. Germany's KfW loans, low-interest financing for solar plus battery installations. South Korea, generous subsidies for industrial and residential storage. India, 50 gigawatt-hours energy storage tender for grid stability and renewables. These programs improve ROI and reduce risk for investors and users. Return on investment, ROI. A typical commercial battery system may have 4 to 7 year payback period, depending on use. 10 to 15 year lifespan. 8 to 15% internal rate of return, IRR. ROI improves when systems stack multiple value streams, like combining demand shaving, arbitrage, and grid services. Caution: ROI depends on local energy prices, incentives, regulations, and grid needs. Every project is unique. Levelized cost of storage, LCOS. LCOS is like the price per unit of stored energy over the system's lifetime. Battery LCOS 2024, -$100 to $140 per megawatt-hour. Pumped hydro, -$30 to $60 per megawatt-hour. Green hydrogen, -$250 plus per megawatt-hour, still emerging. For comparison, gas peaker cost, LCOE, -$150 to $200 per megawatt-hour. Wind and solar, LCOE, -$20 to $60 per megawatt-hour. The trend? Storage is catching up fast. Energy storage is proving its worth, not just as a technical solution but as a financially smart one. As prices fall, policies evolve and value streams diversify, storage is becoming a cornerstone of modern energy economics. From big batteries on the grid to small systems in homes, storage is saving money, making money, and replacing fossil fuels 1 kilowatt-hour at a time. Part 9: The Future of Energy Storage. The next wave of innovation. The energy storage revolution is only just beginning. While lithium-ion batteries have dominated the first part, a new generation of storage technologies is emerging, each designed to address the limitations of today's systems. From solid-state batteries to gravity storage, from compressed CO to nuclear batteries, this part takes a tour through the future landscape of energy storage. Let's explore the breakthroughs that could power our world tomorrow. 1. Solid-state batteries. Imagine a battery that charges faster, lasts longer, and is far less likely to catch fire. Solid-state batteries replace the flammable liquid electrolyte in lithium-ion batteries with a solid ceramic or polymer. This improves energy density, up to 2x current lithium-ion. Safety, no thermal runaway. Cycle life, more charge-discharge cycles. Charging speed. Status. Companies like Toyota, QuantumScape and Solid Power are testing prototypes with commercial launches expected before 2030. 2. Gravity-based energy storage. The concept is simple and ancient. Lift something heavy and let gravity bring it down to release energy. Companies like Energy Vault and Gravitricity are building systems that use cranes to lift concrete blocks, lower them when energy is needed, turning motors into generators, offer multi-hour storage, low degradation and long lifespans. Pros: low-cost materials, steel, rock, concrete, long cycle life and recyclability. Ideal for locations with limited land but vertical space. 3. Compressed gas storage. Compressed air energy storage (CAES) and the newer compressed CO storage operate by using excess electricity to compress air or CO into tanks or underground caverns, releasing it through turbines when needed. Newer versions avoid the need for fossil fuel heating, a flaw in older CAES, and improve round-trip efficiency with thermal energy storage. Example: Hydroster is developing advanced CAES projects with efficiencies near 65 to 70%. 4. Thermal energy storage. Thermal systems store energy in hot materials like molten salt, concrete, or even sand, and release it as heat or convert it back to electricity. Used in concentrated solar power (CSP) plants, district heating networks, industrial processes. Pros: scalable and low cost. Ideal for long duration or high temperature uses. Compatible with industrial decarbonization. New twist: sand batteries in Finland store excess wind-solar heat for homes during cold winters. 5. Hydrogen and power to X. Excess electricity can be used to create green hydrogen via electrolysis. Hydrogen can then be stored and used in fuel cells to generate electricity. Injected into natural gas pipelines. Turned into synthetic fuels or ammonia, power to X. It's a seasonal, long-duration storage option, and a bridge to decarbonizing heavy industry and transportation. Challenge: efficiency is low, 30 to 40%, but improving with better electrolyzers and heat integration. 6. AI-driven storage optimization. Future storage systems won't just store energy, They'll think about when and how to use it. AI will predict electricity demand and renewable output, optimize battery charging and discharging, coordinate storage across entire regions, virtual power plants. Example: AI-controlled microgrids can switch between solar, wind, battery, and grid in real time for lowest cost and emissions. 7. Next-gen chemistries. New battery chemistries promise better performance, lower costs, and less reliance on rare or toxic materials. Sodium-ion batteries, abundant materials, lower cost, great for grid storage, cattle, nature energy. Zinc-air batteries, high energy density, recyclable, safe. Iron flow batteries, long duration, low cost, iron is globally abundant. Aluminum-ion and lithium-sulfur batteries, in development for ultra-high energy density. These could decentralize energy storage and lower barriers to global adoption. 8. Space-based energy storage. A bit sci-fi, but concepts are in motion. Orbital solar collectors beam power to Earth via microwaves. Space-based batteries store energy where there's no night. Could someday provide non-stop global energy access. While still experimental, it shows how far the vision of global energy resilience could go. 9. Circular economy and battery recycling. Future storage must also be sustainable, closing the loop on materials. Advanced recycling tech can recover 90 to 95% of lithium, cobalt, nickel. Second-life batteries from EVs can power homes and grids. Policies like right to repair and design for reuse are growing. Circular energy storage could dramatically reduce costs, pollution, and mining pressure. 10. Localized, resilient, citizen-owned storage. The future isn't just high-tech, it's also community-led. We're seeing community energy cooperatives owning storage systems. Virtual power plants, VPPs, made from thousands of home batteries. Rural and island microgrids, running independently with storage plus renewables. This democratization of storage is redefining energy access, security, and empowerment. The future of energy storage is diverse, dynamic, and deeply innovative. In the years ahead, storage won't just be about batteries in a box. It'll be about systems that work together, blending new chemistries, artificial intelligence, circular design, and community ownership into a smarter, cleaner, and more resilient energy system. From the grid to the garage to outer space, the next decade will shape how we store energy for generations to come. Part 10. Environmental and social impacts of energy storage. Powering progress responsibly. Energy storage is one of the key enablers of a low-carbon future, helping us integrate renewable energy, decarbonize the grid, and improve access to electricity. But like all technologies, storage comes with trade-offs, from mining and manufacturing to land use and disposal. In this part, we explore the environmental footprint and social justice implications of energy storage, while examining how we can do it better through sustainable practices, smart policies, and inclusive design. Environmental impacts. 1. Raw material extraction. Most modern batteries, especially lithium-ion, rely on materials like lithium from salt flats, brines, and hard rock. Cobalt, largely from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Nickel and graphite from various global sources. Mining these materials can lead to water depletion and contamination, deforestation and land degradation, greenhouse gas emissions, loss of biodiversity. Example: lithium extraction from South American salt flats, like Salar de Atacama, uses large amounts of water, putting pressure on arid ecosystems and indigenous communities. 2. Manufacturing emissions. Battery production is energy-intensive, especially in countries powered by fossil fuels. Producing 1 kilowatt-hour of lithium-ion battery storage can emit 40 to 150 kilograms of CO. Emissions can be reduced by 90% if powered by renewables. Cleaner, regionalized supply chains and green factories are improving this footprint. 3. Battery disposal and waste. At the end of their life, batteries can become hazardous waste if not properly recycled or repurposed. Issues include leaching of toxic chemicals into soil and water, fire risks from damaged cells, lack of standardized recycling processes. Solutions: second life uses, e.g., EV batteries repurposed for grid storage. Closed-loop recycling, recovering up to 95% of materials. Regulation and producer responsibility laws. 4. Land use and habitat disruption. Some large-scale storage systems, especially pumped hydro, can disrupt landscapes, damming rivers and altering water flow, displacing communities or wildlife, changing local ecosystems. Newer solutions, like underground CAES, modular thermal storage, or co-location with solar wind, minimize these impacts. Social impacts and equity. 1. Labor and human rights. Cobalt mining in the DRC has been linked to child labor, unsafe working conditions, exploitation and lack of oversight. Global companies are increasingly being held accountable to audit their supply chains, source from ethical, traceable suppliers, support mineral recycling to reduce primary extraction. 2. Access and energy justice. The benefits of energy storage, like backup power and lower energy bills, are not equally distributed. Barriers for vulnerable communities include high upfront costs, lack of ownership or control, policy and infrastructure gaps. Inclusive policies and community programs are key. Rebates or subsidies for low-income households, community-owned storage projects, technical support and capacity building. 3. Environmental justice and siting. Where storage is built matters. Industrial battery sites can bring noise, traffic and fire risk. Communities near siting projects often have little input. Marginalized areas may be used as sacrifice zones. Best practices include transparent community engagement, health and safety safeguards, locating systems on already developed land, e.g. rooftops, brownfields. 4. Global inequality. Most energy storage deployment is happening in wealthier countries, while developing nations often lack grid access or capital. Mining impacts are concentrated in the global south. Solutions must address technology transfer, global financing for just transitions, storage solutions tailored to local needs, e.g. modular microgrids, pathways to sustainable storage. 1. Greener chemistry. Innovations are reducing reliance on harmful or scarce materials. Cobalt-free lithium iron phosphate (LFP) batteries. Sodium-ion as an abundant alternative. Organic flow batteries made from carbon-rich molecules. 2. Circular economy design. Design batteries for easy disassembly. Create incentives for recycling infrastructure. Mandate producer responsibility for end-of-life management. 3. Socially responsible innovation. Involve communities in planning and decision-making. Ensure fair labor throughout supply chains. Use data transparency to track environmental and human rights performance. The bigger picture. When managed well, energy storage can reduce fossil fuel use, stabilize the climate, empower communities, create green jobs. But without care, it risks reinforcing the same extractive patterns we're trying to escape. The challenge ahead is to ensure that storage systems are not only clean, but also fair, just, and sustainable. Storage is a transformative force, but it must be wielded responsibly. That means rethinking how we source, design, use, and reuse our energy infrastructure. Environmental stewardship, social equity, and long-term sustainability must be core pillars of the energy storage movement. Because how we store energy today will shape how we live tomorrow.